too long ago.
Okay.
So, basically about 3 minutes apart. Skurry certainly being in the upper echelon of any percent runners. But this still has the potential to be a very good race.
Yeah, we'll probably see something similar to last race, where it's going to be kind of Skurry trying to pull ahead, and we want Lolicry to kind of just... Okay, just making sure Skurry started there. Lolicry to kind of just hang on and almost hope that Skurry makes a mistake.
Yeah, that's going to be a big part of it. There is a lot of potential for this run to get out of hand on both sides. Yeah, not in the beginning though. The initial part, just going through King's Fast and Crossroads. Pretty simple movement. Don't expect to see any runner deaths, though I'm willing to be surprised.
I think we've seen 1 HP in Crossroads before. I don't think we've had a death in Crossroads.
We've seen a couple 1 HP Crossroads, to be quite honest. Nothing quite as bad as the Rando Bingo tournament, where I believe there was a racer who died the false night.
They're both
like that.
They're both at 5274 coming out. An incredible race.
Are we sure that this is a this is not the same player on both sides? Aside from the different timers. And after the synced load, it looks like Lolicry took a RTA lead somehow.
Yeah, it looks like Lolicry definitely has faster loads here.
Not quite sure how that happened. Probably another live split bug. But anyways.
Well, I think that he just loaded faster going into Deepnest.
Yeah, I think you're right. 2 clean falls. That room that they just inventory dropped through is very notorious for being RNG dependent. You can lose around 3 seconds and a lot of health if it goes wrong.
So they're going to be displaying 2 different ways to do this arena. Skurry's going to try to get 2 kills with that 1 spike, which he fails to do, but he'll get the 2nd kill pretty quickly. Lolicry was trying to pogo the Aspids, which didn't work out too well for him. He actually lost a lot of time on that 1 arena just because the Aspid got away from him.
Yeah, showing exactly how that arena can get out of hand. The Aspid AI and a lot of enemy AI is to kind of float away from you, which, at this state, when we have no movement items, means a lot of time lost trying to catch up to the enemy.
Yeah, there was a surprising amount of kind of optimization and routing for that 1 Aspid room. And they're, again, somehow synced with real time, like last race.
Yeah, it's impossible to summarize how much research and labbing has gone into that, 15-second room at most?
Well, Lolicry's at 2 HP. There are a couple enemies here that if they have bad spawns, it can be hard to avoid them. So we're going to hope he doesn't get down to 1 here. It looks like he got pretty good spawns.
He got pretty much a perfect layout for that last little gauntlet of enemies. So should be safe going into False Night. You don't want to die at False Night. That'll put you back in Dirtmouth.
Plus, and it's just sad.
Like almost a 2-minute walk back, and dying to False Night does not help anyone's esteem. You're right.
So Lolicry got a bit better pattern. What you want from False Night here is him to jump over you, because then you can continuously hit him. It takes 13 hits total. You can just hit him until he falls down. If he jumps away from you, you lose a little bit of time.
Oh, Skurry getting a huge amount of lag on that wall break.
Yeah, that's something that specifically seems to trouble him. Like, I know in his streams, like, that specific part of the run he just freezes for.
Yeah, a lot of these kinds of glitches can be associated with the game installer or the registry. And so you'll see runners have particular problems with their game that no one else has. Like, Pest is very famous for his current patch install as a Fluke Farm glitch, where it spawns as 3 Hive Knight sprites flickering. And that is completely unique to Pest.
What they're going to get here is Vengeful Spirit. So as we've seen in the other races, this is a fireball. What we're going to do with this spell is basically do more damage, and we'll also have some fireball skips later, which goes a little unintended routes through Greenpath to save some time on our way to Hornet. For now, though, it's just going to be used to kill balders.
Vengeful Spirit almost required for the run. There is an alternative route, which would involve farming for 300 Geo, killing Crow's Mother, shade skipping to Salubra, and buying Longnail. Because it just so happens that with Longnail, you can get frame-perfect hits on the Balder to Greenpath.
Yeah, if you have a lot of free time and really want to hurt yourself, then you can just try to get past a Balder with Longnail. That should be a fun time.
Yeah, I believe that the one recorded video with Longnail hits, Magalore took something like 30 to 40 minutes to get a single hit off.
Oh my.
So even if hitting the Balder with Longnail was RTA viable, that would still be much slower than Vengeful Spirit. So for all intents and purposes, this is the only way to do the first 5 minutes of the run.
Yeah, we should be thankful that it's slower. If it weren't slower in the route where Longnail, this run would be horrible.
It would be unbelievably bad, and Lolicry committing to not doing the fireball skip, perhaps.
We're getting a Balder spit here.
Well, no Balder spit. Unfortunately, that will lose about 3 seconds. Not a huge deal.
He goes for the jump anyway, I like it. He still tried.
You never know. You might get like a billion lag frames all of a sudden, and then hardware-dependent movement gets you across the gap. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, so of the 3 fireball skips in Greenpath, that's definitely the one that'll lose you the least amount of time not to do. I think I just said like 3 negatives in that one sentence, but the next 2 coming up are a little more important, and especially this next one.
The second one really is a run killer. The Vengefly or Squid Pogo is available as a backup, but it takes about, I want to say, 15 to 20 seconds to execute, which is really bad compared to this fireball skip.
Thankfully, they both made it, but now it's going to be Skurry, actually, who's lower on soul. If he gets 3 hits here, it shouldn't be a problem, but this isn't the easiest enemy to kill. He does a nice job with it.
And another thing to keep watch on is Lolicry's Geo counter. It's 10 Geo below Skurry. That could be a problem. But he decides to do the old Geo route, so should have no issues.
Yeah, the Geo that Lolicry is getting now, Skurry will be getting about that amount of Geo, a little more, in the Vengefly King kill. And with this new routing, with killing the Vengefly King, you can actually avoid Geo later on in the run. You have just enough where you can skip some later rocks. He's doing pretty well, though. They're both going pretty cleanly through Greenpath. It's nice not to see any missed fireball skips. Lolicry, of course, foregoing the first one, but again, that's not a huge time loss.
Yep. Greenpath, actually an area which isn't required for the run. You can beat the game without Mothwing Cloak, but it is quite slow, to say the least. In fact, it is slow that even just getting the Fungal Wastes without Mothwing Cloak takes about as long as picking up the item itself. So we're going to make a beeline for Hornet, get that dash upgrade, go a lot faster.
By the end of this commentary, I'm not sure if there's going to be a single part of this run that is actually necessary.
By the end of this commentary, we'll just be zooming through transitions anyways.
So this is the Hornet fight. A little scary. Lolicry is going to come into this with 2 HP. It shouldn't be too bad.
Hornet can be a little stressful. Her movement is manipulable, but a little finicky because she staggers in weird ways. Sometimes you can use that. Ooh.
Oh, that's
Skurry,
horrible.
Skurry is scaring everybody, but he does get the Hornet kill off safely.
I didn't realize she was jumping away. So Hornet can actually soft lock in almost that exact position where you can kill her and she'll kind of stay there on the gate and she will not move and you'll have to quit out and reset.
Yeah. The way you can tell the difference is that a Hornet soft lock, her sprite will be frozen on the gate, and it normally happens when you hit her up into it rather than her falling down onto it.
I didn't realize that. I thought that was a soft lock. I was scared.
Nah, Skurry was fine. Giving everyone a minor heart attack. I believe that you can do things to prevent it. I don't know those personally because it's pretty rare to get a Hornet soft lock in the first place.
It's pretty rare and you're not too far into the run.
Very scary. if you do get a soft lock, you are walking all the way back there from Ancestral Mound. Luckily, once you do get there, Hornet will still be dead. You'll just feel really bad about yourself because that's 3 minutes you're never getting back.
They're going into Fungal Waste now. The movement here isn't too bad, but there are a couple skips to take note of. There's going to be Explosion Pogo and Mantis Pogo coming up. Both of these are kind of unintended things, but they save a little bit of time each. I think Explosion Pogo's on the order of 30 seconds and Mantis is 20, but you can correct me there.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Explosion Pogo lets you get into Mantis Village from an alternate entrance, really the way you're supposed to exit from it. And it costs about 8 seconds every time you fail it. Then Mantis Pogo, sort of a one-try trick in Mantis Village itself. We have to drop down, hit this lever on the floor, then you get back up by down slashing on the enemies. Skurry getting Explosion Pogo first try. Problem with Mantis Pogo is if you fail it and kill the enemies, you're doing 30 seconds to walk around the room, which is really unfortunate.
We also just saw Lolicry get some Geo Rocks that he has to get because he didn't go Vengeful King. Unfortunately, failing Explosion Pogo while Skurry actually hits Mantis Pogo, so there's going to be a pretty big time difference here. He needs to hit this Explosion Pogo, though. Okay, good.
Skurry
he was close.
Showing us a textbook Fungal Wastes. That was really quite impressive. With the 2 Pogo, Mantis Pogo.
Oh yeah, he did do 2 Pogos, didn't he?
Okay, Lolicry, not sure about the setup.
I think Lolicry unintentionally dashed left there. I don't think he meant to. Oh, he would have he could have had it.
Really scary, but he gets it on the last hit.
Yeah, he actually did 3 hits to each of those Mantises total, so they were both dead. So if he missed that last one, he would have to walk all the way around.
I am sure that he had a small heart attack when his first dash was not enough to get over the ledge, but does make it on the second dash, so still in the race, thankfully. Yep. No one wants to do the long walk of shame.
So now we're going to see them quit out. When you quit out, you're going to go back to the most recent bench you sat on, or in this case, you're going to go back to Ancestral Mound because there is an automatic save there. And they're going to be dashing all the way to Gruzmother, which is the next boss we need to kill, and they're going to be trying to get 6 soul on the way to get a faster kill on Gruzmother.
Yep. Incidentally, you may not know this, but Gruzmother is also not required. We could just walk. We could just walk around the entire world map to get to the other side of Gruzmother without killing her. But you know, that doesn't seem like the best idea, considering Gruzmother is one of the fastest and easiest bosses in the game, and even gives you 64 Geo.
I think what might be more interesting is if you said when things were required.
Well, you know what also isn't required? Shaman Stone, but we are sure going to get it anyways. It takes 220 Geo, which is what everyone's been farming for, and it also forces us to sit through a very long charm pickup animation, but it's going to more than make up for it by increasing fireball damage by 33% and making the hitbox almost twice as big.
Yeah, Shaman Stone is actually the only charm we're going to be getting in this entire run.
There's is by far one of the best charms in the game, and one of the earliest. So, really a no-brainer for almost every NMG run.
Is there any one of your... Go ahead.
Also gonna rescue Sly here, because Lantern will be a required progression item later on in the run.
Is there any one of your meme categories where you don't actually get Shaman Stone?
Yeah, a bunch of them. Like, Elderbug percent doesn't get Shaman Stone because it just isn't worth it for the Soul Master fight alone. Zope percent doesn't get Shaman Stone because it just isn't on the way to Coliseum 1, and so it uses Soul Catcher instead. But that's really beside the point.
We'll see a clean shade skip from Skurry here. He's had clean skips all the way through. He's had pretty clean movement too. He's going to be going through Blue Lake here for Dream now.
Yeah, looking very nice. Getting into Resting Grounds early is really nice. The point of any percent really is to kill the 3 Dreamers as fast as possible to get into Black Egg. And we need Dreamnail to even get started on that goal. So this lets us route Lurien into the City of Tears visit which is really just about the most efficient way to possibly beat the game.
Yeah, if we're going to city before we do Lurian, we're gonna either have to make a return. Well, we're gonna have to make a return visit to city either way after we get Dreamnail.
Yeah, so this is just really nice. Unfortunately, Dreamnail itself is kind of slow and boring to get. We have this long auto-scrolling platform simulator here that Skurry is entering.
And we do actually intentionally fall off here because it pauses the timer.
Lolicry taking his life into his own hands by jumping into the Dreamnail cutscene. We'll see if that gets one of the legendary Dreamnail soft locks. I think he's okay. I don't remember where the soft lock point is.
Yeah, I don't know how to tell if it's
definitely fine. Yeah, if you start that cutscene while you're off the ground, or the game thinks you're off the ground, you will soft lock and have to force quit out of the game to continue.
Yeah, and that can happen if you're jumping or if you're mid-dash, so that's something for new runners to take note of, because it seems like a very random time when you soft lock there.
Yeah, it took a very long time for us to figure out what caused it, but it is completely consistent once you do know the trigger.
Scurry's going to be quitting out of the Moth cutscene here. It makes it so the Knight's kind of laying down as he falls through here, and it also saves us actually watching the small cutscene.
Yep. There are actually a number of places in the game where you can gain early control this way, but the no major glitches rule set says that this kind of glitch is only allowed when it doesn't make your character invisible. So, quite fortunately for us, we can't see the character anyways, so visible or not, all is good.
Scurry's getting to this elevator before 14 minutes. This is a really good pace for him.
Yeah, Skurry. At this point, Skurry could feasibly PB.
For sure.
I think. Though we will hope that this does not end up cursing the run. I think on Scurry's end, he just wants to finish and win, not take any unnecessary risks. Yeah, City of Tears, a lot of geo farming. I mentioned before we have to get Lantern for this route, which is 1800 geo. So that is priority number 1, and we'll be getting 3 relics to support that.
What the relics do is we'll sell them later on to Lem, and we're only collecting these just so we get geo. A small mistake from Skurry here, trying to get up here, but it'll only lose a second or two. And a nice slide.
Yeah, so I really have to respect Skurry's decision to play ethically and not take the hazard boost. You know?
To play ethically? Oh, okay.
It's the little things in life. You know, it's so rare to see a runner who doesn't manipulate the timer.
I mean, he did fall off dream platforms intentionally, right? That's timer manipulation.
You're right. Skurry is cancelled. Alright, so Gorgeous Husk. A lot of geo for one enemy. Do you know how much? Well, maybe Skurry will show us.
He will. I'm impressed.
421.
421 geo now? It's CPU dependent, actually.
If only. Geo spawns actually are random, in the sense that the game sends all of the geos shooting out of the enemy at random angles, which can be very annoying when you're trying to optimize speedrun.
It is the same amount of geo per kill, though. That part's consistent. We're joking about that.
We were just joking about that.
So Scurry's going to be coming up to Watcher Knights here in a second. This is probably the hardest part of the run for new runners, killing Watcher Knights with very minimal equipment. Equipment being dash, claw, and fireball.
Still one of the hardest parts of the run for experienced runners, just because there's really almost no floor to how optimized this fight can get, because it does have a bit of randomness.
Yeah,
it's very difficult to master.
Yeah, the boss goes from difficult to survive to difficult to get a good time on, but it's always a stressful part of the run for these guys.
Yep. So we'll see how risky Skurry decides to play this fight.
Yeah, that's true too.
618. A good fight is sub-minute. Well, a good fight, maybe not sub-minute, but An excellent fight is sub-minute. A good fight for Skurry would probably be like a 105.
Now, sub-minute is a little bit high expectations there. We're going to see Lolicry coming into the same fight. He is a little behind in the in-game timer, but he's still doing pretty well for himself. And of course, in real time, very close. So a lot of this fight is trying to get these fireballs or vengeful spirits. It's the same thing. You're trying to get them to hit at least twice. So you'll see Skurry here, every time he uses it, he's trying to hit both Watcher Knights with it.
Yeah, one of the things you may not notice as just a viewer is that what Skurry is actually doing is canceling his nail attack into the fireball. And so that saves half of the recovery animation of a hit, which doesn't seem like a lot. It's just 0.2 seconds off of any individual one. It saves a lot of time over the course of the run. Skurry getting a little low on health. We might see him take this a little safer.
Yeah.
The fight is almost over.
Right. I don't remember what you said when it started. It seemed like an okay fight.
Yeah, I think that was pretty good. Was that 1728 or 18? It might have been like a 105 range fight, which would be really... I think Skurry would be very pleased with that.
Yeah, especially for a race.
Lolicry needs to heal here. Oh,
yeah,
no.
He's in a lot of trouble. He tried to heal, but the way that...
Unfortunately, he gets it off. As long as he plays... Yeah!
that's unfortunate.
Oh, well. Yeah. I spoke a little too soon there. Yeah.
So he benched... Okay. He did bench in City of Tears, so he's not like... it's not impossible for him to continue. If you don't do this bench, you're going to quit out to Salubra, which is brutally difficult to continue, but he still will lose a ton of time from this.
Yeah, if you quit out to Salubra, you have to make up a whole new geo route on the fly, because you're going to lose all your money shade skipping.
Yeah, for racing, it's recommended, is a light way to put it, to bench in City of Tears somewhere.
Yeah, unfortunately for Lolicry, it really is quite unlikely for a runner of Skurry's caliber to also take a costly death.
Especially with the pace he's on.
Yep, there's still about 15 minutes left for Skurry, and a lot can go wrong in late game.
Mm-hmm.
So at the very least, it's still up in the air whether Skurry will be able to pull off a PB here.
Oh, a PB for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where this time is in comparison to PB. Of course, we can't see the runner splits on screen, which you'll generally see if one of them's streaming.
Yeah. To answer the question in chat, normally when people want to get into speedrunning Hollow Knight, we'll recommend either any percent NMG or all skills NMG. All skills being about 20 minutes longer than any percent, but a good bit easier because it gets more combat upgrades. True End is not the category we recommend for beginners for quite a number of reasons. It has very difficult movement and the hardest boss fights of any category. So definitely something for more experienced runners, usually after they've mastered any percent. And maybe
Hollow Knight in general is a
even
fun
another
game.
category. Yeah, something common to all speedruns in Hollow Knight is that the upgrades you're used to getting in a casual run, especially nail upgrades, are just much too slow for any speedrun. And so you really also health upgrades, you really have to get used to playing with minimal items.
It also depends on kind of what caliber of runner you are. For starting out for any percent, you definitely can go out of your way to get a single nail upgrade. It is slower, of course, but yeah.
Yep. There's an alternate route of any percent that does get Shade Soul.
There's quite a few little variations on the route of any percent.
Yep. Yeah, ultimately, to get like a good time, like a 35, you're going to have to give those up. But to get something respectable like a 38, you really can play it at your own pace and focus on the movement to get started.
Are you gatekeeping respectable now?
No, I don't know. Like, I think that for most people starting Hollow Knight, you know, their goal is going to be sub 40.
Yeah, that's a good goal to have.
Yeah.
Anyway, Lolicry did finish the Watcher Knight's fight. The fight was a bit slow, but he did play it safe. He's going to survive with 2 HP and get to Lurian. Skurry, on the other hand, is actually exiting City of Tears now. he's going to go back to Dirtmouth, and Sly, who we freed earlier, he's going to buy a lantern from, so we can head into Crystal Peaks, which will be the next big movement section of the run.
Now, is lantern required?
Why do you ask me these questions?
I'm just curious. Well, it isn't technically. You could go into Soul Sanctum. It's going to take you about 4 minutes to go pick up Desolate Dive, and that is a hard save, so you do have to go out Soul Sanctum the way you came. And then you have to take a long and circuitous route into Crystal Peak. So you're not going to see that in any percent run, or True End, or any category which doesn't explicitly require Soul Sanctum.
I feel like this was a bait. I feel like you wanted me to say Lantern was required, and then you could explain why yet another thing is not required in this run. The reason we do have Lantern here is so we can access this toll that Skurry's accessing right now. You actually cannot interact with this in the dark. Otherwise, we would be fine just going through these rooms in the dark. We can memorize the layout and save time by not buying Lantern.
Yep. There's another instance of the game which is like that, which is the No Ice boss fight in Greenpath. You do have to have Lantern to interact with that boss, and that's the only reason why 100% gets Lantern, since Lantern doesn't count as a percent.
So Skurry on near PB pace is going to go for Pogax here.
And he will miss
it. He'll just miss.
This is tragic, and...
He has some kind of a backup.
I would not call that a backup.
Alright.
Yeah, if Skurry wanted to go for a backup, he would have been on the other wall. You do want to be on the opposite wall from the Husk Miner in order for the pickaxe to go high enough. Since it has a fixed horizontal speed, it's always going to make the same parabola.
To me, this is kind of the moment where Skurry says, okay, I don't think I'm going to PB here anymore. I'm going to try to win the race. Because otherwise you would not see him healing in that situation at all. He gets God Pixel, though. He's going to get right in between the laser and the hitbox of the enemy for that. There's just a few pixels where you can actually sneak through there.
Yep. Always something people like to go for, and even if you miss it, the damage boost is a little bit faster than going up the right side. But yeah, doing Crystal Peak with 1 less HP does make a big difference. You don't want to be in death range in the last room. Although, even with this health setup, Skurry could still die if he does the damage cycle, then hits the bottom of one of the rotating platforms going for under the platform.
Yeah, in general in this game, if you get hit once, it's going to give you a little cooldown timer, so invincibility frame, so you can't get hit twice in a row. The exception to that is if you get hit once and then fall into like a hazard, like spikes or these crystal spikes in the bottom of your screen here.
Yep. So that last platform Skurry dashes under is a bit of a meme. It saves a totally insignificant amount of time, but it looks very cool, so people go for it. And if you don't go for it, you normally get shamed and or canceled.
I thought Skurry already got canceled earlier.
That's true. But so Skurry does survive, and we're going to see him move on to Uumuu, thanks to that item he just got. Crystal Heart, one of the coolest abilities. It lets you fly across the screen almost anywhere.
The reason we do get Crystal Heart, you're going to see later, is we can't actually access the Dreamer after Uumuu without, at a minimum, either Crystal Heart or Isma's Tears, or you said last race, some ungodly setup of items.
Yes, the alternative, I believe, is going to be Shade Cloak, Sharp Shadow, Monarch Wings, and something to Fireball skip with, plus maybe Spell Twister. Otherwise, you can get to Monomon, but you might hard block there or something. I don't know the details. I've never done it myself.
These are important things to remember for your rando run.
Not really feasible in vanilla, because just getting the Monarch Wings without Crystal Heart is quite annoying. But yeah, so Crystal Heart, much faster and easier than Isma's Tear. So that is the item of choice for any percent.
Yeah, plus it makes it so when we go through these other rooms, as you'll see, they'll be using Crystal Heart just to get through the rooms faster, even though they don't technically need to.
Yeah, we've been seeing some disappointing movement tech from Skurry on the Uumuu split. First of all, he did the pause-unpause dash at the well, which is significantly slower than just landing and super dashing. Then he did right side archives. I really don't know how to feel about this, other than to hope for a Uumuu death.
Wow, that's a little harsh. So we're going to see Uumuu here. Uumuu does attacks where he's invincible. Skurry actually cannot damage him right now, which is why he's just kind of running around and waiting. He's going to get full soul here, so when Quarrel, this little bug, comes and breaks open Uumuu, we can get as much damage as possible, which is going to be exactly 150 if he does it right.
Yep. You can eke out a bit more damage, up to maybe 175 or so, but unfortunately it takes the exact same cycle, or sequence of hits to do that. And it doesn't let you cut off the second cycle anyways, so runners are going to go for the safe setup.
Speaking of safe, Skurry's at 1 HP here, but it looks like...
Nope,
oh, he doesn't get the double...
high, so Skurry is going to have to play it safe.
Skurry is exactly 1 fireball short right now. What he needed is that last fireball to kind of carry Uumuu with it, so it hit Uumuu twice, but he just barely didn't get enough damage, so he's just trying to survive.
Stuck in the top platform, and that did prevent the 2 cycle, which is really unfortunate, but not too costly, probably around 20 seconds or so lost.
Yeah, and I think he was kind of out of PB range anyway, so
yeah,
he probably won't feel too bad.
Uumuu is a major choke point for any percent for that reason. A lot of randomness, and even if everything goes your way, it still is really hard to execute perfectly.
Yeah, the reason he didn't get 3 cycle there kind of stems back to earlier in the second cycle. He actually missed a Dream Nail, so he didn't have enough soul. Dream Nailing Uumuu actually, or Dream Nailing any enemy does give you soul, so he had to try a riskier one later, and it kind of threw his movement off.
Yeah. So up next after Monomon, we are going to see Skurry do the last major skip of the run to take an alternate route into Deepnest. It's like, ordinarily, casually, if you were coming out of here and wanted to go to Hera, you'd go back into Fungal Wastes, go to that trap pit by a sports room, and go through a bunch of mazes to get all the way over to Beast Den. We're going to do something different.
Well, I know Viz said that if he were significantly far ahead in a race, he'd actually go Deepnest. So I'm not sure if Skurry will be the same mentality. I can't imagine he goes Deepnest.
I don't think so. I think we're going to see a Queen's Gardens. And what that means is we're going to come out of Archives and exit Fog Canyon to the left, where there... Ooh, Lolicry. Better play this safe.
He's at 1.
I didn't see how he took so much damage.
Yeah, me neither.
Yes, it was from the Gross drop in Crossroads, which is rather notorious for comboing you to death if you get hit once. Fortunately, there's a nice bench in Archives, so this is not really threatening with respect to Uumuu, as long as he doesn't try and skip the bench. Which I really hope he doesn't.
I can't imagine that he skips the bench. Uumuu with 2 HP is not reasonable.
Skurry entering this room takes a dunk. What he's trying to do is dash into the wall so that it stops him at the perfect height to super dash across like he just did and wall jump on the opposite side. If you're too low, you can get the super dash across, but not have a window to wall jump off the wall. And so that skip is called QGA. It's one of the most precise skips of this run, at least. It's extraordinarily difficult, and it gets us into this extremely difficult area as a shortcut to Deepnest, which saves about 30 seconds. Maybe a little more than that. No one has really tested it recently.
Yeah, the issue with Skurry missing QGA twice, he is going to lose a little time, of course, to having to respawn. Nice arena bit there, by the way. Yep. But the other thing is he's going to be down 2 health, so he'll have to lose time to Gathering Soul and healing, which he's already done. You saw him kind of attack one of those spiny enemies.
But yeah, the time loss from QGA does tend to snowball in that regard, because you can go into it with a little bit of soul, but if you fail it a few times, you have to farm for more soul, and it really is just very unfortunate. It can feel really bad if you got a 2 cycle, you're ahead of splits, and then you get to QGA and everything goes wrong because, well, you mess up that metric, which is possibly frame perfect, close to frame perfect. Yeah, no one really knows. Hollow Knight is on like a 60 hertz physics timer, but you have wider input timers depending on your actual refresh rate.
We're going to see a lot of problems with Lolicry to the right here. He actually got a 4th attack from Uumuu, which is an RNG thing that can happen. So he couldn't get the first cycle in a way that he could get 2 cycle, and he's also down to 1 HP or 2 HP now. So I'm not even sure if he'll get a 3-cycle here. But his
I
damage
just hope
rotations
he
have been
doesn't
okay.
die.
Oh, it was close.
Love to see a heal here.
Oh my goodness. He's going for it.
Yeah,
No.
and he doesn't get it. And so now this is full-on sketchy. Skurry, meanwhile, takes a hit right outside Beast Den. You never want to take that hit, and Lolicry dies. That is really painful. He's going to respawn right here, so it's less than a minute lost, but it's really going to set him back. Might make it hard to pull off a sub 40 at this point.
Well, it's probably more than a minute back because just how far into the fight he was.
That's true. Maybe a minute back with optimal 2-cycle afterwards, but definitely more in his case. But yeah, the reason why Skurry taking damage is so bad is that Beast Den, where we're entering now, is the maze, which has almost mandatory T-boosts routed into it. So if Skurry does this area optimally, he is going to end with 1 HP now, which is not something anyone wants to do. Ooh, and Lolicry gets knocked out of the 2-cycle position. That kind of unfortunate.
Oh, he missed the dream
nail.
nail
Gets it
too.
set up. I think Uumuu's too high. Yeah.
I mean, at that point, he also missed a dream nail, so he didn't have enough soul to 2-cycle anyway.
Yeah. But yep, so Skurry making his way through the maze. You saw the D-boost earlier against the Devout. Basically, it comes down to the special property where the Devout itself, its body, deals 1 damage to you, but its pincers deal 2 damage. So the ideal way to fight them is to wait for them to open up, dash into them or walk into them to take damage off the body, then iframe through the attack.
Yeah, overall, that was a very clean 3 HP Beast Den.
Yeah, honestly, that was really excellent. Lost a little bit of time waiting on one of the wall spiders, which are pretty notorious for trolling people. But aside from that, about as good as he could ask for.
Lolicry on 1 HP again at Uumuu.
And does die.
And, yeah, unfortunate.
This is unfortunate. I really do hope he finishes, but there is a potential that we see a forfeit here when Skurry gets to the end. And Skurry is on pace for about a 34-30. Not going to be setting a tournament record, but this is still an excellent time to finish.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, the current record was set last night by Pest. Was a 33:59.68, I want to say.
0.68, yeah, you got that.
Yeah, very impressive time, and honestly, will be pretty difficult for anyone to beat.
Yeah, I don't know if coming into this whole tournament we expected anyone to get a 33 in any race. I didn't. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it really does go to show how quickly this category has been optimized in the last few months, because Skurry going for a very swag bell hit there with the crystal dash.
So the normal way to do that is, of course, you can just nail swing to hit the bell to summon the stag, or you can crystal dash off the right wall just because, you know, you want to showboat for an audience. That's fair too.
But yeah, as I was saying, about 8 months ago, the record was 34-17 or something. And 33s were just not even considered in the realm of contention. Whereas now, it's like we're waiting to see who will be the first to set a 32. We have all sorts of people with 35s and 34s now. It really is incredible.
Who was the first person to get a 33, actually?
Are you asking that seriously, or?
I'm asking that in the same way that you've asked me how much Geo Golden Husk drops.
Well, it's a 33:58 by me. Very quickly defeated by Skurry. So, nothing to write home about now in a day where 33:20 is world record and is also considered mediocre by the people who have the world record.
Oh no. I really don't want Lolicry to die again. I think if he dies again, we'll probably see a forfeit from him, so I really hope he survives this.
He
will
does
heal.
finally heal on 1 HP, which really makes me happy.
Skurry will be doing the final boss here. If you've played this game with full equipment, this boss isn't too bad.
Real.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you were saying, oh, something I wanted to mention earlier, but I forgot. if you've played Hollow Knight on current patch, which is about 3 versions ahead of this, you may be very surprised to be watching the Uumuu and Hollow Knight fights because they don't look the same at all. That was because Team Cherry decided to change them for reasons mostly unknown and made them mostly impossible on current patch. One of the many reasons why we don't play current patch.
Oh, Skurry's gonna heal here, so he is playing it safe here. He wants to beat a good amount of HP, because he knows he just needs to finish this fight at this point, and the race will be his.
Yep. Basically, the idea of Hollow Knight, we're just wailing on him, trying to do those fireball combos I mentioned earlier, and whenever Hollow Knight does a dash, you want to jump over, get just behind him, shoot the fireball off at the right time, and get a double. Meanwhile, Skurry dashes just a hair too early or too high, depending on how you want to set it up. Misses the scream skip, where you land into Hollow Knight right after he screams and take damage to regain control. That's going to lose him a bit of time, and he's going to finish a little slower than I estimated, probably a 34:40.
Yeah, it's still going to be a nice mid-34.
Still a nice time. Any race 34, it's a good 34. Or something like that.
There was a dodge in there during the bullet hell attack that, like, there were 3 coming toward him, and I have no idea how he dodged it. I'm going to go back into the VOD just to specifically see that.
Yeah, honestly, I hate the bullet hell attack. I know it's fast, but you can mostly dodge it, but you can't perfectly dodge it. And it really sucks for that reason.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes...
And I am proven wrong. Skurry. The 34:38.
I mean, you were 2 seconds off. It's pretty close.
Alright, so with that, we'll mark Skurry done and see if he wants to come in for the interview. And hello. Or, he is almost here. He has joined the server. Hello for real this time.
Hello.
So, how do you feel about it?
Bad run.
I'm not surprised to hear that. It really was good at the beginning. We were really impressed up to, Watcher Knight's Lantern.
Big City. Yeah, even
really
to Lantern.
good.
Yeah, it was good early game.
Then there was Pogax. Any comment?
Also, I've said this before, but I don't have a prevention method for Hornet softlock. I just kind of do the fight.
Oh, you were
yes,
close.
We were all on the edge of our seats there.
So, I just like hit the gate in vain. I'm like, hopefully this will prevent it from happening.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you can't get the soft lock if Hornet falls into the gate. It's normally when you hit her up into it. That's been my experience, at least.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna throw it to that.
Yeah, a lot of times you won't even get a good sign of it. Like, she'll be on the ground about to jump, and you hit her before she even jumps, and bam, she's stuck in the gate.
Okay.
Or that's what happened the last time I got it. But yeah, so up to that point, really was a nice run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Uumuu happened. Uumuu also happened to Lolicry, though.
See, I feel like that only happened because I missed the dream nail.
Yeah, I agree.
Uumuu ended up
his
just a
position
little
was
high because of that, because you had to change up your movement.
Yeah.
That was a little unfortunate.
Because like I got the damage cycle, but he was in a bad spot, so he just tanked the double hit, or didn't like get double hit.
Yeah, I got wedged in that platform. Chat wants us to ask you why you did under the platform. I think this is a freebie, but I'll let you answer.
Because I'm not a baby.
Yeah, still got a really good 34, which after a 3 cycle, I mean...
Oh, okay.
No shame
I'm watching
in that.
Lolicry.
Yeah, Lolicry's struggling a bit right now.
Yeah, this was really unfortunate with 2 Uumuu deaths on his side.
And a Watcher Knight's death earlier.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the boss fights being just such a huge gauntlet in this category. But I think that he is on good pace to finish now. Probably will be getting If he doesn't fall down in distant
That's
village.
scary.
I mean, I was pretty close to dying to Uumuu too. I just there was a
Yeah.
spot where I was at 1 health and I was like
That's-
dashing
That's
as he was
true.
doing.
We were all. I was terrified when you were on 1 health. I guess you know pretty well how to handle it, but still.
Yeah, it still happens.
No one likes Uumuu on 1 HP. That's how you 6 cycle. I have 6 cycled Uumuu on 1 HP before. And it's like every time I thought, I'll just do this 1 cycle safely and I'll heal. And you know what? I never once got a heal without immediately taking damage.
Well, we can watch Lolicry finish here. He is a beast then, so he's going to be coming through this maze, and then he's going to be going to the Hollow Knight fight at the end. Hopefully we won't see another death there. It is nice to see the runners finish, after all.
Yeah, really glad to see Lolicry sticking through it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because even when the bosses beat you down like this, you can still put on a good show. And he's had pretty strong movement throughout. I think a lot of it is just, nerves.
Yeah, nerve. He's definitely getting hit a lot too, especially in this last section with Queen's Gardens, which can be difficult.
Yeah, one of the underrated ways, I don't know if I should even use the word underrated, but one of the big things newer runners find is that the best way to save time is to stop taking damage, because taking damage slows you down, it puts you in risk of dying, healing takes forever, you don't have much health, so it just sort of sucks all the way around. But Lolicry is through with Beast Den.
I'm curious what Skurry is doing here.
I
Gotta put on a
have
show
a
for
plan,
this.
I think.
Okay,
All right, Skurry has a plan officially.
let it be noted.
He is
The plan might get me
soul.
banned from the tournament.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I don't have money. Never mind. I was gonna glitch.
Skurry was going to go back to the map.
Did you finish with exactly 0? Did you have 250 exactly on Hera?
You can definitely get enough to buy a map if you wanted to get Fly and get the Geonode.
I don't know why I don't have. Oh, I think
what
this
you
might be a
wanted?
different file actually.
Oh, that'll definitely get you banned. Yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is a different file.
Here's another thing a lot of people don't know is that rescuing all 3 Dreamers sets all of Cornifer's flags, immediately puts him to sleep for the rest of the game, lets you buy all the maps you ever wanted. Pro tip in case you didn't feel like doing the the Waterways map, which is in the middle of nowhere.
Cornifer, for the speedrunners that never use him and may not know, is the person who sells you maps. Not that you need those at this point.
Yep, you see a lot of Cornifer, or maybe a very tiny bit more of Cornifer than in this run, if you're running glitched categories, because you can get a number of storage glitches with the map. Unfortunately, all of those are banned in this category. So we really don't get to see much of him.
Scurry's plan was apparently talking to Elderbug.
Look, he just keeps going.
Yeah. You should go download the Elderbug God mod and show that off on Restream.
This makes it up for all the times I walk past him.
That would really that would really impress SpeedGaming, I think.
So it looks like we will have time to see Lolicry finish here. I'm not sure if there's another race coming on at 1 for some other tournament. I have no idea.
Schedule. There is a link to the past at 1. I
Okay.
think Lolicry will finish just in time, but we probably won't be able to afford an interview.
I would agree. We're also probably not going to be able to afford a death here, so we'll see how he does.
I, for one, believe in Lolicry.
Do we have any way to put audio on the... We're just listening to silence now.
I switched the audio to Lolicry using the commentary controls.
Oh, well.
Uh-oh. I think we just got took off.
Oh, no.
Well, we'll just assume Lolicry finished.
Yep. That is unfortunate, but not much we can do about it.
We are going a bit over our time anyway, so we'll probably wrap it up now.
Yep. Gotta get a link to the Baston.